Boom shakala! Welcome to the 2021 Qatar, name it, Qatari Grand Prix from Ooredoo. That can't be right. Anyway, there it is from LaSalle, Qatar. This beautiful, unbuilt, straight country. Facts number one about Qatar. There's no number one there. There's no facts about Qatar. Another straight building. They are getting good. And if you see the leaning tower of somewhere on the right. In Qatari, the price of booze is 2,000% higher than Europe. Obviously, Muslim country, but there are no more drug people in Qatar than there are in Europe. Mainly because of the South Africans. Anyway, there you go. More unstraight buildings. It is a beautiful country. Clearly modernized beyond belief. This is rush hour in Qatar, by the way, just to let you know that. And more rush hour in Qatar. Someone hurrying their way to work as we speak. A fantastically modern place to live, with road signs everywhere. And there we are. And welcome to the 2021 Qatari review. I'm joined as ever by the fabulous Fabio.
You missed a fact in Qatar. I mean, when you say that there are more drunk in Qatar than in Europe, it's because of Brexit. That's all there is.
That's another reason, obviously.
Yeah, that is the reason, basically.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Anyway, there we go.
Yeah.
Yes. So welcome everybody. It's been fantastic, and all I've got to say about this race is tires. That was the main theme of the race. And, just excuse me, I know Fabio's not going to like this, but tires are, again, the theme which we'll be talking about most. And who could disagree with this? It was a fantastic race, though, despite all of that. Unfortunately, ruined by the referee, Michael the match-eating Massey, who decided to come down heavily on cars driving past yellow flags. And there's a lot to be said about that. Botas, of course, penalised to the back of the world. And Max Verstappen given a 5-place grid penalty. Actually, it was 3 places for Botas, but it may as well have been the back of the grid because he drove just appallingly, really. But anyway, that's to come. Welcome to everybody. We got Mr. Willis. Oi, Mr. Willis. Thank you very much. We've got Wild Eden, who chose the most popular vote, which is good to see. Thank you very much. Although I will catch up with the poll in a little while. Please, everybody, vote on that. That would be very helpful. Welcome, Mr. Willis. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, so any questions, of course, stick in the side chat. Go ahead, Fabio.
No. You forgot to mention there is wide dart too in the side.
Yeah, no, I did actually. Wild Hearts.
You did?
Yes, I did mention that. Hello, Wild. It's good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Missed you lots, and I hope everything's all right where you are. Okay, and Wild Heart again. No, I didn't mention Wild Heart. I mentioned Wild Eden. I'm getting confused myself. Wild Heart, yes, some Dutch guy, obviously. He says. Yeah. Yep, obviously. Anyway, there we go. Let me just get my shit together here. Yeah. There we go.
About time. Yeah.
Okay, my shit is now officially together. I am here. Okay, so we're going to do the race review. I'm going to try and get through this as quick as I possibly can, because basically that's my style. So it was pole position for Lewis Hamilton, who wasn't penalised for going past a yellow flag at a ridiculously slow speed. But nonetheless, that's how it goes. We don't really know what happened with the penalties, but we will talk about them later. There's been quite a lot of controversy controversy this week in Qatar, and so we'll try and go through that in a little while. But effectively, it was Lewis on pole, then Fernando Alonso probably. Anyone just jump in if I get things wrong, because that's how that is. No, it wasn't. It was Gasly. Gasly's front row in second place. Then it was Alonso. Then it was Norris, something like that. And then probably Sainz.
Yes.
And Botas, and then someone like Ocon, maybe.
Yeah, somebody maybe.
Somebody else Leclerc, I couldn't see. And then eventually Max Verstappen, right back there at some ridiculously low prop. This gave it an almost impossible race, obviously, being that Qatar is not a circuit for overtaking, as we're about to find out, other than DRS down the straight, of course. Anyway, everybody was worried about Gasly and Lewis in turn one, but as it happened, Lewis got off to a fantastic start, got into turn one in first place, followed by Gasly, and then Alonso, and then Max Verstappen, who had an even better start, coming up to fourth place, getting past the squabbling Alonso and Sainz. So, I don't know what Alonso was thinking about there, but nonetheless, he was defending his position on the outside rather than trying to defend his position on the inside, which turned out to be completely wrong because there was no grip on the outside of turn one, which is where most of the overtaking came from. Still, I'll move with the race. Lewis got off in first place, first into turn one, and then just drove away from the rest of the pack. Almost a collision between Alonso and Verstappen. Verstappen's quick reactions drove off track and managed to keep into fourth place. Then Alonso and Gasly having a little duel, Alonso coming off best there. This put, of course, Gasly in front of Verstappen, but that wasn't to last long, as Gasly kindly drove off track at the end of the first lap to allow Verstappen to get a fantastic tow down the outside and get past him into third place. So basically lap two, Verstappen was already up to third place. So what a great first lap for Verstappen, and that kind of saved his race. Lewis was never to be troubled. The Mercedes had a clear pace advantage around this particular circuit on this particular day, and he basically just kept driving away from everybody. Nonetheless, everything was about Alonso and Verstappen thereafter. By lap 5, though, of course, the Red Bull had managed to get past the Alpine, and sorry, it was an evil laugh, but it had to be done. And that left Alonso in third place. Then it was just down to pit stop strategy. Lewis Hamilton basically just covered for the first time. Mercedes actually got the strategy right and covered Red Bull every single step of the way.
They got Red Bull's strategy, so they couldn't be wrong.
Yeah. So they couldn't go wrong, and that's basically what you're supposed to do when you're in the lead. So as soon as the Red Bull, which actually is a bit heavier on its front end tyres and around this circuit, which is front end limited, that's quite crucial. So they had to stop first every time, which allowed Mercedes then just to pit behind. And this happened in several times. Lap 17, Bottas started making his move, really, to get past Ocon. Given the hurry up by Toto Wolff, who said, which is Austrian for fuck's sake, Valtteri. Why? How much money are we paying you? And of course, that was correct, because that seemed to put a wind under Valtteri, and he overtook a couple of cars. That wasn't to last, though. Unfortunately, later on, the theme of this particular race, tires, was to come back and haunt him, and he himself would have a puncture. In fact, he got a puncture relatively early because they left him out there to try and do a one-stop on his yellow tires. And in fact, it was lap 33 that he got a puncture. He managed to get it back to the pits and change and get back out there, but of course this destroyed his race. At the same time, Lewis Hamilton was doing fastest laps, but there you go. The tyre whisperer then was to come into play And I want to thank Fabio for this particular title because I didn't think of it. But in fact, on a car like the Alpine, it's not, tyre wear is going to be even higher. They also have a fairly high rake theory. They're heavy on their front end, and yet somehow, the experience and deft touch of a great 2 times world champion like Fernando Alonso managed to get his tyres to the end on one stop. One of only 2 drivers to be able to do that, because there were a whole spate of punctures,
Yeah.
which
There's
were just
there's a fun
completely
fact about
unexpected.
there's a fun fact about that. I mean, if somebody was born the year that Fernando got the first podium, he would be allowed to drink today because it's been 18 years.
Wow. First podium. There
Yeah.
you go. First podium. 18 years ago. Is it? I have seen the whole of Fernando's career. I
Yeah.
remember when he was just a young, greasy-looking Spaniard coming up from the
Yeah.
ranks of Formula 3, Formula 2, as a champ, nonetheless, and
Yeah.
getting his first drive with Flavio, Mr. Briatore.
Mr.
And he, in
Briatore, yeah.
fact, in fact, F's are going to be another theme. But but he, in fact, was a fantastic find and a great addition to the soon to become double world champion. Of course, he's been a teammate of Lewis Hamilton, famously at McLaren, where they didn't get along so well because
No.
he actually got a bit of a pasting in Lewis's rookie year. But anyway, moving on. Lap 42. Then Verstappen, Perez was into the pits, as well as basically Perez was into the pits, showing that the tyres were wearing out faster than expected, and everybody knew that they must come in, or at least people should have guessed from that people must come in because clearly the tyres were very worn. However, even after Bottas's tyre failure, it was still to be that other people were going to have tyre failures. Lewis, though, of course, sailed off into the distance, and although he couldn't get fastest lap, it did turn out that he was, of course, to win the race from that lowly position. And basically just following the strategy, as Fabio has already said, of Red Bull. There was a bit of a tussle between Perez and Ocon, basically, which helped, although it wasn't for too long. It did, in fact, help Alonso to get third place. So that was lovely because he was repaid. In the meantime, Russell managed to get a puncture, and that obviously destroyed his race. Latifi also got a puncture. That destroyed his race. That 52, I think, somewhere around there. And then everybody started panicking. And it was would you make it to the end or would you not? And it basically took a supreme driver to be able to take their tyres right to the end. Just showing maybe that Bottas could have got there if he'd actually just pitted a little bit earlier and hadn't been restricted by the fact that they wanted to keep him out for Lewis's strategy. So I think actually there was a mistake, a strategy mistake there by Mercedes again. They eventually retired Bottas right near the end, not wishing to stress the engine anymore. Hopefully giving him a better chance in the last 2 races. Lewis, of course, went on to win. Verstappen had to pit right at the end there to get fastest lap, which is the best he could do because they were miles ahead, at least 50 seconds ahead. So ended up with Lewis winning by some 25 odd seconds, something like that, which was clearly a huge margin, although very flattering. But he was still going to win by a good number of seconds. Verstappen did take fastest lap, and a fantastic third and podium for Alonso in the Alpine. So that was basically the race. Perez coming up, but an interesting race. The track was difficult. Just to say that it was difficult. It was a bit smooth. The tyre wear was extreme. But nonetheless, it seemed like the top 2 cars could get the downforce from it, whereas the rest of the cars really kind of suffered, especially the
Yeah,
McLarens.
it's a motorcycle track.
It is.
So I was actually quite surprised that they were actually able to overtake so easily. I mean, they were able to overtake easier than I thought. Because especially the last part, and I remember that
It's a very fast corner, yeah.
it's very fast with an F1. It's a driven circuit if you're riding with a motorcycle, but with an F1 car, basically the last part is all full throttle, seventh gear. You just lift and coast a little bit, but that's it. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's just do the results and then we'll get into the after chat. We've got a few messages to read out and stuff, but if we could do the results first. So it was, of course, the fantastic Lewis, who actually won the race and managed to close the championship up to just 8 points. So 2 races to go and 8 points between them. A very close championship, and goes to show actually that things like the sprint races might turn out to be crucial, and certainly will next year when they're increasing the number. Second place, Max Verstappen. A really good drive by Max, really, to catch up to Lewis. And obviously, if it wasn't for the pace, and it's kind of strange as well that the both second drivers, really had quite dreadful races. Of course,
Yeah.
Perez being out in the first qualifying, or second qualifying, I should say. So again, very strange. But a great race by Max Verstappen again. He is on top form, and it will be very, very close towards the end of the season. Let's just hope that we don't get this settled by a DNF. In third place, well, I say third place, of course. What I actually mean is third place is Fernando Alonso, the tires whisperer, who actually drove a fantastic race as well. Very consistent, just one stopped, made his tires last, and managed to work the alternate strategy to perfection. Fourth place by Perez, who managed to come through the grid, just not fast enough to actually gain the extra place, which he was really, really needed. Nonetheless, that's how it goes. Not a bad race from him. Fifth place would be Ocon, again showing the pace of his car, the Alpine. Lance Stroll, a very good race. I mean, he kept under the radar. He managed to make the Oak work as well. And what can we say? Well done to the Canadian lad there. He done well. Seventh place is, of course, the 2 Ferraris again. Well, they are actually turning out to be quite a pair towards the end of this season. Whatever Ferrari have done to their car, they've managed to find something. And I think this bodes well for next year's car. 7th place, Carlos Sainz. 8th place, Leclerc. Only 2 odd seconds between them. Very, very close. Actually, Leclerc did drive quite well to catch back up after his initial problems and low qualifying.
And by special request, they now have the same race suit.
Oh, because, and they have the same race suit.
Yeah, because you kept whining every week, so I gave them matching race suit.
It was 1 week. It wasn't whining. It was just pointing out obvious facts. Okay. Anyway, there you go. So 9th place, of course, Lando Norris. A disappointing race for him, but still manages to get a couple of points from that. 10th place, Sebastian Vettel in the last point. Disappointing considering Stroll's result, but nonetheless okay. He had problems early on in the race. 11th place would, of course, clearly be Gasly. Gasly in 11th place, who disappointingly fell through the field like a stone, considering he was on second place. He should have been much higher up. He was very disappointed with his own race, but I think the tyre wear for the front of that particular car was too high. And that goes to show that rake principle really coming into effect, and really goes to show how designing a car for the particular tracks in the season is so important. 12th place, Ricciardo, disappointed again, couldn't get any performance out of his car, was complaining quite a lot through the race about that, and didn't have enough top speed to overtake down the straight, or couldn't get close enough to them. So there you go.
I have to
13th place.
I have to jump in because there was news for Ricardo today. There was a failure somewhere in his car, so he was told to save fuel, and he ended up with a lot more fuel in his tank than he usually does because he saved too much fuel, and that's why he couldn't get past. Okay.
Okay. Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Another great excuse by McLaren there. They are really very good at excuses. Yuki Tsunoda coming 13th place. Okay, that was okay for Yuki considering, although again disappointing. The Alphys had good pace in qualifying. Obviously, they set their cars up to do well in qualifying and not the race. Kimi in 14th. Again, I mean, it's worth in noting as well that the old timers did actually quite well considering their car performance. So well done to Kimi as he comes to the end of his last year in Formula One, and we will certainly miss his dry humour. 15th place, Antonio, the Italian, and he did okay, coming really close to one place behind his Raikkonen. Mick Schumacher, fantastic 16th place. Really well done to Mick. That was a great drive considering he managed to make the one-stop strategy work as well, and so managed to leapfrog past a few of the cars which are struggling with tyres. Namely, the cars that struggled with tyres were George Russell, who had a tyre left front tyre, always the left front. Nikita Mazepin, who actually spun his car out and had a dreadful race, 2 laps down. 19th place was Latifi, who also had a tyre failure front left. And last, and definitely least in this case, Valtteri Bottas, who finished in 20th place, trying to stay out to do the one-stop strategy, but clearly stayed out far too long. His tyre went. And a bit unfortunate, he was the first to discover this problem, which actually says quite a lot for the Williams and a lot for how much downforce he didn't have on his car. So those are the race results. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to throw it over to the other Italian in the studio. Please, Fabio.
Who's the other one? Sorry.
Well,
what do you mean the other Italian?
Antonio Giovinazzi. The first Italian.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much recap of the race. I mean, I'm not even going to go there. Pretty much good recap of the race. But just a couple of things. Alonso made a really fantastic start. The thing that he made in the second corner was, fucking amazing. Really, really, really great driving from the guy. I mean, he really is a 40 years old youngster. The thing I liked about Alonso is that at the end of the race, he said something on the line that, he got a podium without, in a race that wasn't kind of a crazy race, meaning that, there was no rain, no safety car. And he said that. That was...
I'm sorry. Oh my God. I just also... the best tires comment. This is great. Well, Dean said sometimes I like to think back to when my dad used to put me in tires and roll me down the hill. Those were the good years.
Yeah.
That's fucking great. I'm sorry. I had to interrupt for that because that is. I only just read it and that is superb.
No, it's okay. I mean, I love the comment by Alonso because it shows that the guy is still a massive cunt in the best possible way ever. Just to give a nudge to how Ocon won the last race, under the rain and stuff like this. No, I got a podium. That wasn't a crazy race. It was all driving. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, it was an interesting race. Not too much. It wasn't really a super exciting race. But yeah, it was better than I thought because of the track, the fact that it was the first time they were there, the layout of the track and all that stuff. The tires thing, Pirelli brought the C1, C2, and C3, so the hardest compound possible, and I think that that started the idea in some teams that they might go with just one pit stop, and like Alonso did and people like that. Even if the strategies that Pirelli brought forward as being the fastest one, they all involved 2 pit stops. So somebody took the gambles, and for somebody it paid. For somebody else, it didn't. Most of them I think all of them had failures on the front left tire, which is the most stressed one. And funnily enough, I think that for all of them, it was a slow puncture. It wasn't, like the tire, shredding all of a sudden. And that is, I think that was a combination of extreme wear on front left tire, and the fact that the curbs are really high in Losail, so they might have stressed the tire.
We do have to. Sorry, firstly, Pirelli said it was 100% wear on all the tires that went. They all said there were cuts on the tires, but they didn't know whether they were before or after the puncture.
But
and thirdly, it's not the actual curbs; it's the supplementary curves. It's the curves which are just past the outside of the normal curves, and those seem to be particularly rough for the cars or sharp.
Okay.
I think sharp is what Pirelli are kind of implying, really, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what they meant basically. But that might be a combination of all the things. Regardless, some teams took the gamble. Some teams had the driver which were able to do that, like Alonso, and I think who else made one stop?
Schumacher.
Yeah, and somebody else, they just couldn't do that. So
yeah, and there you go.
Tire management is not something that you.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think that of all the driver's skills, tire management is the hardest one to actually get a grip of. If you pardon my pardon.
Even Fabio's at it today. Oh,
See?
Did you hear that? Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic! Speaking of which, we've just got one more by Wildheart here, which is a good one. Why was Harry Potter surprised when Ferrari won the F1 race? Because he expectio Patronus. I think that's very good. Thank you very much, Wildheart.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So,
please remember to vote in the poll. We've got, we got people. Please vote in the poll. I can't vote in the poll, and I feel disappointed right now.
The other thing, I mean, you mentioned about the penalties. I think it's a very good point, but I think that the biggest point is that how late they were in actually giving the penalties. I mean, everybody which saw the qualifying they would have pointed out, okay, that was going to happen. There was no question about it. I mean, double yellow, you don't stop. I mean, you don't slow down. It's automatic. So I don't know. The only thing is that they take too much time. That I agree with you, but it wasn't unexpected, actually.
It's worth noting. It's worth noting, I think, that it was Vettel in the Aston Martin that did slow down. Mm-hmm. I mean, he came herring out of the last corner, saw the flags, and slowed down.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas Verstappen and Bottas were just intent on getting the fastest time, trying to beat Lewis, and they didn't care. Well done. Thank you for the graphic. That is timely. He was superb, actually.
Yes.
In that qualifying. I mean, it's interesting to note that again, somebody who knows the rules, knows what's going on, has been there, done it, obviously chose, okay, well, if I try to go for pole now or try to improve my position, I'm just going to have it taken away and a penalty. And the two people that are most desperate, really, namely Bottas because he's losing his seat, and Verstappen because he's in the middle of his hardest championship fight yet to date. Basically just went for it, decided to keep the foot in. So I think the excuse that Horner gave, which is, oh, I think this is the FIA's problem because they didn't tell us over the phone, they didn't text us, they didn't email us, they didn't like smoke signal us. He was coming up with all sorts of excuses, but it goes to show it's bullshit because Vettel, who was a car before them, actually saw it, and he did slow. So I'm not really sure. I think the FIA are being extremely lenient right now is because they know that any decisions they make are under great scrutiny, so they don't want to make a decision against Christian Horner. Although I don't know what the end results were. He was reported to the FIA. So.
No, it was reported because he made some really stupid comment towards the stewards. But again, even that one was okay. So it was okay to be reported. I mean, it was okay to. I think they gave him they just told me not to do it anymore, which it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the end of the season, they're really on the edge. Everybody's on the edge, and that goes back to what we were talking about last week, about the fact that I think that, the team, at least the team manager, should be really way more cooled down. They should try to cool down the situation, and apparently they're not really good at it. So that's quite disappointing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, more, and just to make matters worse, Helmut Marko, the Red Bull team owner or team manager, he also then added fuel to the fire and also criticized the FIA for not being able to get the modern technological systems up and running. And they basically indicated that it was just some random guy on the side of the track waving a yellow flag, failing to notice on the other side of the track a car stopped on the pit straight, which goes to show you how much Helmut Marko has got no fucking idea about Formula One.
The guy complaining about lack of modern technical things, and I think he's 98, 125. So fuck me, come on.
Yeah, and seems not to be able to operate a video camera very well, or at least the video monitor, which is displaying the fact there's a car on the pit straight stopped.
He was talking a lot with Gasly before the race, so I think they promised him, I don't know, an Aston Martin car shop or something, but that wasn't just the case. And so, Gasly made a very good qualifying. They were quite taken away by the pace of the car. I think he couldn't understand why the car was so slow. He claimed it was pushing, but apparently the car was a little bit different. And that's another thing which is really strange about Losail is that they race in the evening, and the temperature, I think they dropped down something like, if I remember correctly, I think 9 to 11 degrees. And there is a funny thing about the tarmac in Qatar. It would be the same in Abu Dhabi, stuff like that. Is that that not a big change of a temperature, they make the tarmac slide way more, and that I think was part of the reason why they had so many problems with the tires, because the tarmac is really tough, right? But you slide way more when the temperature go down. So basically, what happens is that you're constantly grinding the tires with lateral G's. So it's really weird.
Lateral movement as well, not just the G's. It's the actual movement across the track sideways that wears the tyres out more, and this is just an F1 thing, more than the forward-backwards and spinning of the tyres. If you spin the tyres, obviously they're going to wear out as well because you're doing more mileage, but in actual fact, it's the sideways movement on the tyre that really wears the tyre out faster than expected when it comes to thing, and they can manage the tire wear due to spin and stuff because they have data on that. They know how many times the wheel has been round and over what distance, and they can calculate how much the tire's been spinning.
But talking about the tires, why don't you ask me if I still think that Max Verstappen is going to win?
Okay, what's the question? Why do you think Max Verstappen's still going to win?
I still think it's going to win the championship, and one of the factors I think is going to be the tires.
Tires. Tires.
For your pride and joy, I think that the tires would play a very good role. And let me explain a little bit. So, yesterday, as I told you, Pirelli bought the C1, C2, C3, the hardest tires, and we know that Mercedes, seems to be working better with harder tires compared, to other cars. The next race in Jeddah, Pirelli will bring one step softer than Losail. So maybe Mercedes will have, the same advantage, maybe a little bit less. But, so let's say that that Mercedes will have the advantage anyway, even with a step softer. But the last race is Abu Dhabi. And in Abu Dhabi, the tires will be soft. And that will be a huge advantage for Red Bull. So I think that the tire situation is still favoring Max, besides the fact that Lewis is still playing catch up. And there is also, the funny thing that if Lewis wins next race and he makes the fastest lap, they will get with the same points in Abu Dhabi. But if something happens to both of them, something like a Senna Prost situation, Max will win the championship because he won one race more than Lewis. So it's not. I mean, it's easier for Lewis because he managed to get a lot of points during the last races, but it's still under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think basically it will come down to who wins at Yas Marina. Is it Yas Marina they're at? No. What's the last one?
Yas Marina is Abu Dhabi, yeah.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi. So I think it'll come down to who wins there. Really, I would say that Lewis will win the next race. Max will come second, same as we've seen. Although it will be it'll be further. Max will be out ahead to start with, and then Lewis overtaking. That's my prediction. You can quote me on that. But also the thing about the tires. Yeah. So I mean, first of all, my first thought was we should go back to the end of last year as podcast. If anybody wants to go back to that Abu Dhabi last year and hear me saying next year will be all about the tires, and Fabio going, No, you don't. You always mention tyres. It won't be about the tyres next year. So thank you, Fabio. I feel vindicated beyond belief right now. I am flying high.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm doing. The thing in the Old Testament. The Old Testament where they go back and they go, oh look.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Jesus was prophesied as
fair enough.
Cut on the seventh fucking, when he was 7 or falling off a roof sometime. It's bloody amazing.
Okay.
And it's a similar sort of thing here. I made so many predictions, of course, that some of them are bound to come true. Okay, anyway, moving on. Moving on again. Welcome to everybody else. Yep. Please remember to vote. We've got a lot of Max people out there, 71% at the moment, 29% to Lewis. But there you go. That's fair enough. We enjoy the challenge here, and so well done. Thank you everybody for taking part in that.
There is a thing I got to retract from what I said, last time when we were talking about the engine and Red Bull. Yeah. And I was predicting, that eventually, Red Bull will probably change the engine, and I was expecting them to do this race. Which they didn't. And apparently, and this is from Mr. Yamamoto itself, the the big Honda,
The big man at Honda. Well, we say
yeah, the
big
big,
man at Honda. It seems like an oxymoron for a Japanese person, but
right.
nonetheless, it is there. He is, in fact, the head honcho.
He was asked specifically about the fact because if they don't change the engine, Red Bull will get to the last race. It will be the 8th race on that engine, which is a lot in F1 terms. But apparently, they asked Mr. Yamamoto the question directly, and he said that he's not worried about reliability. So maybe, just maybe, they will be able, to go ahead and not change the engine before the end of the season, which is, I mean, it's a big achievement in engineering terms. There is
really
also the fact that apparently Honda doesn't suffer as much as Mercedes. Well, keep in mind that Toto Wolff said that, and we already established that Toto Wolff. We do not believe anything that Toto Wolff says, but apparently, the Honda engine doesn't suffer as much as the Mercedes engine when they got a lot of kilometers on the engine.
So that was the problem at the beginning of the year. It was suffering. And it was finding that it was coming down on power relatively quickly, and then then staying fairly constant after that. Which is why I think they had an upgrade halfway through the year, which Mr. Yamamoto at Honda said was primarily not to do with power. Denied the power rumors, even though they achieved more power, of course, because they put a new engine in. But they did achieve reliability, which is exactly what they said. Honda said halfway through the year, and that was the big improvement that they needed to make going forward, because of course Honda withdrawing at the end of this year, and Honda said they wanted to leave Red Bull with a really superior engine, and by that we now know, of course, that it comes down to reliability and producing power. So
of course,
fantastic achievement by them, because of course, sorry, just to finish up the point, and of course the point being is that that Mercedes boasted 2 years ago that they had achieved this thermal efficiency of 50%, which is the highest in any internal combustion engine. So, it was a milestone for Mercedes, but it appears that Honda have outdone that, because they've obviously achieved a high efficiency, but more importantly, more of a longevity. So,
but
again, typical Honda, like you were saying last race.
Yeah, and it gets even better than that, because, again, Toto Wolff blamed the fact that that the Mercedes engine as goes down in performances as long as it runs. He blamed it on Ferrari. Believe it or not,
really?
he said that last race he said that the problems that they're having with the engine, the fact that they lose performances as much as they go. It's something that it goes back to 2 years ago when the Ferrari engine was so much, better. So they did some stuff, and that whatever the fuck they did, they just make it lose reliability. So he blamed it. He had to blame on somebody else. This guy is fantastic. I mean, he's so brilliant.
Yeah,
I can't even begin to. Yeah, it is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean that's true story. That, of course, I've got a recording of it here. He said, "I get to the job of Ferrari." So well done to. Did I cover my mouth enough there? I hope so. Anyway, so thank you very much for that, Fabio. If there's anything else, I'd just like to finish up by saying Mercedes are now 5 points, 5 points, just 5 points in the constructors, and we're still 3 races to go. Is it 3 races?
2.
2 races to go. So 2 races mean 100 points left in the constructors to win, to be dished out. It's very, very close. So it's going to be knives, and obviously that must be why they pulled Botas in, because he wasn't going to score any.
No, I was going to say it's only 50 for Mercedes because they have Botas. So.
Right. There you go. I don't know. However many it is, of course, 2 teams, it's much more than I just said. It's like 160. But anyway, whatever. Yeah, I mean, disappointing. Again, Bottas disappointing. I mean, I guess we know that he's not giving it everything. That steely determination, Bottas 2.0. I think perhaps he needs to go and get a suntan or something, because clearly having a beard isn't working. Anyway, all I'm saying is 2.0 has finally gone out the window. Shall I mention it again, Fabio? Shall I say what I say every time Bottas disappoints us in a race?
Yeah, fucking Botas. That's
fucking Botas. I mean, just how annoyed am I now? I could have had a fucking crate of fucking decent red wine sitting on my table as we speak, and be boasting and going, oh yeah, easy. Lewis has easily won this championship. But no, we've got fucking Bottas still there. So
yeah, I mean, his start was pathetic. I mean, it could only have been worse if he started in reverse. I mean, that was. I mean, yet I don't know if you saw the video, but on his display it clearly said low RPM. So he had to reopen the clutch, and basically everybody just pulled the stickers out of his car. It was.
Yeah, it couldn't have been slower if he'd started in Brazil. But yeah, there you go. I don't know. I don't know. I understand you are correct about your assessment that it's Mercedes and they couldn't do else for failing for a PR disaster. But I can't. I've got to remember the days. I remember the days where the teams were just absolutely cutthroat, and quite often, as soon as a driver knew that they were moving somewhere else, they were gone. I mean, that was it. They were just gone. They didn't. Frank Williams walks into a room and goes, "Oh, sorry, Nigel, you're sacked," and he's gone. Right?
Oh,
that's how it is.
And Enzo Ferrari before Frank Williams. Enzo Ferrari would have probably skinned the guy.
As well. You will never drive in another team as long as I fucking live. Yeah.
Exactly. You would never drive a car anymore, because I'm gonna cut your legs. So that's.
I hope your wife's a good driver, son. Oh, well,
okay,
there you go.
Let's call Peter, because I think his board stiff.
Okay, well, we've got him on the phone here we got him on camera, of course. Peter, we sent you a camel. How did things go, and where did you end up? There you are. There's green grass in the background.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, it's not just green grass. I'm sitting on the airfield close to my house. They didn't send me a camel. They sent me a plane. The one back there, with the big red and green A on the tail fin. And that one didn't work. And that one didn't work. So if you look closely on the other side, there are two more that also didn't work.
Okay.
I don't know.
Serviced by whom? By Haas, presumably.
It's got a big A on it. Alitalia or something like that.
Alitalia, is that where that's from?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 of them. They're currently sitting at the airfield just a few miles from my house. So I thought, just to make Fabio happy, his planes are here. They're not taking off again, but they're here.
Fabio. Sorry, hang on a second. Fabio! Wait!
Fabio fell asleep. By the way, the window is open.
We probably have expectation of a punchline, but there we go.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, it's the drink window is open. It's probably that's the reason. So, but yeah, so I didn't make it.
How did you find the race, Peter?
Yeah, I found it sparkling actually. Don't you think? I mean, I enjoyed the fireworks. I thought it was a little bit too early.
Very good.
Usually they do that after the race. This time it was during, which is novel. I mean,
yeah,
I haven't
absolutely.
I haven't seen Bottas sparkle as much as he did in this race. by the way.
No. Okay. Have you got a picture to show us for that? About that, or is
I've got several pictures to show
random
actually.
sentence?
Yeah, I've got
Excellent. Okay, let's move to those.
Let's
I
move.
thought the fireworks were very good as well.
Yeah.
By the way.
Okay,
Very,
so
very 3D.
let's go to the first thing that I've noticed, and someone else noticed is as well. So Beckham was there, and he and Horner hugged on the grid, and the guy said it took me a second to remember one of the things they have in common. I knew that from the start. No comment, Simos?
Sorry, you're gonna have to explain that for me. I was just having.
You really want me to explain that?
Yes, please, because I
tell
want to have
me-
a hug on the
tell
grid.
me-
It took
tell
me
me
a
wh-
second to remember one of the things they have in common.
Yeah, tell me what you
Oh,
want,
right, yeah.
what you really want.
Spice Girl. Do they have a Spice Girl in common?
Exactly. That was it.
Yeah, it's a different Spice Girl, though.
Yeah, but
To be fair,
they both have a Spice Girl. So probably
they do.
Yeah.
Beckham married, of course, to Posh, and Horner married to Ginger.
Ginger, exactly.
Is that the right name? I can't remember the name.
Jerry.
Yeah, no, I know her actual name, but obviously it's a Spice Girl. So
Yeah,
they're all named after spices,
she was Ginger Spice.
She was Ginger Spice. Okay.
Yeah. So another thing that I found on Twitter, Martin Brundle was under fire as well. Apparently, he can't do anything right because one guy said Martin Brundle definitely loves Max Verstappen, beginning to tire of hearing his excuses for Max's antics. And the other one said Martin Brundle is biased as fuck. Man loves Hamilton more than anyone else. So it's a bit like a creationist judging a transitional species, I think.
Yeah, the second guy is correct here. Martin Brundle does love Hamilton.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want that to come across so much. And of course, he's British and he plays cricket, Martin Brundle. So you'd expect nothing less than a fair shot whack at the ball, so to speak. Okay, thank you.
And another thing that I've noticed was the magnificent trophy that apparently no one got.
Wow, there it is.
It's there. I don't know.
It's 2022 is of course Qatari World Cup. They've decided the FIA there, FIFA, FIFA have decided in their wisdom to play the World Cup in one of the hottest parts of the world. So that makes sense. Worse than Brazil,
considering
78 or 74.
Considering the name of the president of FIFA,
Argentina.
Infantonio, or what is his name?
Of FIFA, I've no idea who the current one is.
Infantonio or something. I thought it was.
Okay, I'm not even
I thought
try
it was.
And pronounce that, otherwise we'll be here another 10 minutes.
I don't know. I thought it was Italian for infantile, but I have no clue. We'll have to find an Italian to tell us about that.
We have an expert. We have an expert in Italian with us, as it happens.
I don't think the guy is Italian, but
no.
Okay.
He's South American, is he? It's Spanish because it ends in a.
Oh, could be.
I don't know who the guy is.
Okay, so
Infanta is in fact a young child.
Yeah, let's get back to the race. During the race,
like Ronaldo when he started his career, very much the same. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, FIA next year. I mean, FIFA next year, World Cup, Qatar 2022. The rumored, as I believe it, part of the deal was to have air-conditioned stadia.
Yeah.
So they're not throwing too much money at it.
A sad detail that 6,500 people have died building the stadiums, which is yeah.
Although and especially it's sad because 3 of them were Qataris.
Yeah, they're trying to outdo the hooligans before they get there. Okay, back to the race. There was a request from Alonso. Tell Ocon to defend like a lion. And
I'm still seeing the World Cup. There it is. Excellent.
People on Twitter thought that was pretty much how it looked. But In the
Circle
end,
of life.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the end, we did get something special because we got a rookie on the podium. Fernando, first rookie this year on the podium. So apparently, that's the thing.
Yeah, right. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
The rookie this year, obviously 2 times world champion, Fernando
Yeah.
Alonso. He
Yeah.
actually, at the beginning of the year, got in the rookies test.
yeah,
Right.
that
Because
exactly.
he was returning to Formula One.
Yes.
So yeah, that's very good.
And another thing, have you noticed the national dress in Qatar during the opening?
Yes, dress being the operative word.
I thought it was kind of odd. I wouldn't expect a cowboy in Qatar, but I mean, everything's possible. And while looking at this, when it comes to clothing, obviously Lewis Hamilton said, "Hold my beer," and there's Lewis in his fabulous whatever it is.
Yeah, that is a fashion statement right there.
I mean, yeah. You wouldn't see something like that from a guy who's a little bit more down to earth. Ricciardo, for instance. I mean, you wouldn't see him in any silly clothes at all.
I love the fact he's done his hair as well for it.
It's a onesie. I mean,
it's a onesie, yeah. Well, he's just got up. This is the life of a Formula One driver.
You
just
could
stay about all day, unless they're in a car.
You could say that Formula One drivers drive in a onesie, but I think this is no, not really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's very fashionable. Anyway, these guys very fashionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, that was the national dresses from all around the world that the Qataris were doing.
Yeah. Formula One also tried it again to have subtitles. We've had it before, and this time, yeah, I don't think it worked either. Just saying.
What am I looking at? Meow.
Yeah. Meow, 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 meow.
Oh, I see. Good.
See?
Yeah.
So that didn't work. Obviously, we had a message from Toto to Botas.
That's quite funny. That's quite funny because it is supposed to be Meow, isn't it? I'm just looking at the Oredo in the background there.
No, Meow are cats. That's different.
Right, yeah, but when you do a car sound, you don't go meow, you go meow.
Yeah, but this is Qatar, remember?
Maybe it's just me.
Different language.
Moving on.
Yeah. Moving on. So during the race, Toto had a message to Botas, and people on Twitter thought that was what it looked like. Obviously, obviously that's not going to work because other people on Twitter were on that as well, and Toto yelling at Botas to drive better. So what is he going to do? Fire me? It's
very good. Yeah, very good.
Well, and I was thinking during the race, why don't they bring Botas in for a pit stop? I wasn't the only one to notice because on Twitter there was this. I think I forgot something, said the strategist, and Toto said, if you forgot, then it wasn't important. And they said, yeah, that's right. And meanwhile, Bottas's pit stop, I don't know.
There was a slight bit of warning to that because Max Verstappen reported a little bit of vibration in the front wheels,
as did Lewis,
which was the sign for a possible failure. As it turned out, we didn't know that at the time. Of course, Lewis also said there was a slight vibration as well, as you said, and maybe they could have thought about it then, but they would have to be geniuses. And of course, some people were just trying for a one stop. So there you go. If you go for the strategy, you go for it.
It was a brilliant sight to see him go back to the pits, and people on Twitter had their own version of that. Bottas.
Very good. That's definitely Bottas. I recognize him.
Yeah. Other people said Bottas used Spark, It's super effective, and yeah, it
Yeah,
kind
look
of
in the background there. That is
yeah.
Alonso's car.
That's
Getting
Alonso.
absolutely showered. That was the thumbnail I used.
Yeah.
That picture from Alonso's car. Great.
Yeah, a guy that I talked to myself a few years ago also had something on Twitter. Guido van der Gaard, who has become world champion. I'll have you know.
In what?
In what is it, LMP1 or what?
Lawnmowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He tweeted most spectacular thing from Botas we've seen in a while. So I can't argue with that either.
No. So what did he become world champion in?
It is in some kind of endurance race. I'm not entirely sure. He races with the main sponsor of Max Verstappen, who is the owner of a large supermarket chain here in Holland, Jumbo.
Which is whom? Jimbo, did you say?
Yeah.
Jimbo,
I forgot his
I always
name.
wondered. I thought that was a reference to.
You're now going to ask me about other race classes. I mean, you could as well ask me about motor racing. I couldn't say anything about that. The only thing I watch is Formula One. So don't ask me trick questions. That's not going to work.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, so
thank you.
We did have an image of the track surface, which might explain a few things.
There
So
you go.
and we know why Alonso won, because at some point he
came third. Yeah.
88 miles per hour and he was back to the future. So
that's very good. Yeah.
And
very
then
good. I love that.
And then after the race, obviously, Mr. Horner had to report to the stewards. And I've got a picture just after they told him. He doesn't seem to be that happy. And then there was another thing that I noticed, and that was Alonso. And he was still on the on the podium, and he looked, well, I wondered what he was looking at. And apparently...
would you have any idea?
Yes, because I noticed there was a computer screen in front that had something, and I don't understand it. Maybe you can tell me.
Okay. Yeah, let's lose that. Yeah.
It's
Max Verstappen listener.
Yeah. I have no clue, but that was all over Twitter. Where it came from, who started it, I have no idea. But when you looked at the hashtag Max Verstappen, that was the picture that was tweeted most, and I still have no clue why and what he was doing.
Oh well, the simple answer to that, I have a very convincing website. That's all. Hello, Max.
That was your website. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was being a bit deceptive because I wear a mask, like Heretic does.
Heretic isn't
Sorry,
that
a bit of an inside joke for those in the community.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Isn't that the guy that looks like a woman people hate?
Depends how you define squirt.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
No, but so I thought it was clearly a miss from Mercedes to pit Bottas a bit earlier, because I think he could have done something in the race, and they clearly threw that away with the strategy. And it seems to happen with Mercedes a lot lately, that they get the strategy wrong, and it's costing them points.
Well, not just lately, according to Fabio especially.
although
about Mercedes' strategy for the years.
With points, I do have to ask a question. You said there are 100 points to gain for the construction?
No, 160, 170 something. I can't remember what the actual
in two races?
30. Yeah, 18. If they come first and second, it's 25 and 18.
Yeah.
Which is 30, 43.
Times 2?
So it's twice 44, yeah. 80 something. I was right, about 100, whatever. I don't know.
About 100.
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it,
Yeah.
to be fair.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was 3 races, so I'd actually, when Fabio said, no, it's 2 races, then I shat my pants and went, oh no, fuck, what was the original number I multiplied? I can't remember.
But yeah.
But anyway, there you go.
At least we had a sparkling race, and that there's something to say for that. But I'm curious. So what was the end result of your poll?
Right, the poll. Yeah, we got. I think we're probably not going to get any more votes. Let's just end the poll there and tell everybody what's going on. It is, in fact. I just ended the poll, but nothing's happened on my screen.
Well, I can read it to you. It seems to be some Dutch guy, 62%.
Yeah.
And Lewis, 37%, obviously. I wish they'd give you 3 choices for I don't know in these polls, but there you go. 8 votes there, so that's that's a pretty comprehensive vote. Thank you very much for that. Some Dutch guy. I'm obviously still going to go with my original pick. And anybody want to change theirs?
What's your original pick?
What's changed what?
Lewis. Their prediction. You predicted Leclerc, didn't you? Something I seem to remember.
No, I predicted Max. Don't play stupid with me, man.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Yeah, fine. So.
By the way, you predicted McLaren to come in front of Ferrari.
I don't know whether I did or not. I can't remember because we did actually give the top 3 positions, didn't we? So,
and you predicted Botas to move to Williams. Yeah.
Did I? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, halfway through the year I did.
Yeah.
Got that wrong, but there you go. I'm disappointed. Every time I see Botas now, I just think, oh, fucking Botas. Why didn't he fuck off to Williams earlier? At least Lewis would be winning the championship by now, but there we are.
Yeah.
And you'll be drinking wine, but you don't. So,
that is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, which
he's some Dutch guy, apparently, according to Wild Eden. So thank you very much for that. It was your vote that made the difference, clearly. Yes, we'll be having words. I can tell you that. And when we do, remember to wear the special outfit because it'll be painful.
So,
anyway, there we
special outfit. Which one did you order? Lewis's outfit or Ricciardo's?
Obviously, I would have ordered Lewis's helmet for sure. That's what I want to wear. Okay.
Where? Oh, where? Oh, no, sorry. I was thinking in British when you said I would have ordered Lewis's helmet.
Right. Yeah. Do you know what?
Yeah. What?
For the potential. Oh, thank you, Wild. She says she looks forward to that. Not as much as I do. Obviously, not as much as I do. Anyway, yeah. So Lewis's helmet on its way to Wild Eden, hopefully, and I don't mind whichever she prefers. Okay, so that's great. What else can I say? Have we got anything else, guys? Anything else you want to wrap up with?
No, it's we'll have to wait and see what happens next race.
I think we're fine. Yeah.
Indeed. So next race, of course, is Saudi Arabia.
And if Lewis wins
on the 3rd to the 5th, on the 5th, that is.
Yep.
And so that's 2 weeks away. So we get a week off next week, everybody. Remember to put that in your diaries. Go wild. Have a great weekend. Sorry, you were going to say, Peter?
Yeah, you have a week off. I don't.
No.
But yeah. So
you never have a week off, obviously.
If Lewis wins, we'll see a crash in the last race. That's my prediction.
If Lewis wins, we'll see a crash. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Because then they're going to be equal, and so yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, Lewis is going to have to be careful if he's trying to overtake at Saudi Arabia, but I don't actually think he will because I think that's an easy Verstappen win. So you know, I'm disappointed. Basically, unless Bottas pulls his fucking finger out and beats Verstappen, then I think the championship is done. But there you
Wow.
go. There you go. I don't know. I'm just disappointed. I'm. The more I go, the more I think about it, the more I just think, oh my god, why didn't I just fucking drive up to fucking wherever it is, Bracknell, and go in there and go, I'm back. Get the fucking strategy eye. We want to also in the team. And I don't know why I didn't say that, because he would have been clear, easily understandable, obvious tactics, and I think he would have probably done it. But there you go.
If you had done that halfway during the season, then Bottas would have been out, and you would have been drinking wine.
Yeah, exactly. And Lewis, I've been to celebrate Lewis going into these last few races with the lead, because George Russell. Well, like I said, George Russell would play second fiddle to Lewis this year if it meant he had an equal run at next year. So it was an obvious strategy call for me to have the best person with the most motivation in the car. And I think probably Russell could have been trusted. But there you go. All the new engines you can throw at Bottas, they're not going to work. At the end of the day, it's just all he's going to do is make another coffee table with it and try and serve some people. All right, just serve some drinks on it, because that's what he does best. So disappointing. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. We are going to call it a night. I think we're ending slightly earlier than normal, because normally we rabbit on for too long, but we've been over an hour. So thank you so much indeed, everybody. 2 weeks' time, we will be at Saudi Arabia, another new circuit. Hopefully, Lewis can conquer there as well, as he's won 12 times at new circuits during his career. So hopefully he can make it lucky 13, and then we've got a championship.
I saw a statistic today. He raced at 30 circuits, 35.
35.
Yeah, and he won at 30. So that's not bad.
Yeah, he's towards the end of his career, though, to be fair. So I'm not sure that I wasn't. I was like, oh yeah, I wonder how many he's won at. But then he's had the best car for the last 7 years. So okay, it's not quite as impressive as I first thought. The fact that he hasn't won at all of them is a bit of an issue. But of course, the circuits have been changing over the years as well, so that needs to be added. And to say that he is an incredible driver, a wonderful human being, probably the greatest human being that's ever lived, and that includes since we're very close to the end, Peter. That includes all of humanity, and including Jesus and probably Yahweh himself. Although, interestingly enough, not the goat. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Bye.
Ciao.